news, everyone.
I'm back, baby.
It's Jake Ciely.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
no. It's every nightmare I've ever had.
Excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
You know what? You just made the list.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What's up, you ducks? It's all in football. Is anybody up, you ducks? Because it's bright and early. I don't know. We say bright and early, 10 a.m. Eastern time. But I mean, this is pretty early for a podcast, Lauren. I think most people don't expect. This is not normal. This is just a special. We're scheduling now to 11 o'clock, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Lauren's going to be here every Tuesday again. Can we officially say congratulations, Lauren?
Yeah, I think we can.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, real
Yay!
quick.
Congratulations to me. That sounds so arrogant, but like, yay.
No, but why? Tell people why.
I am officially a part of the FTN family now, which is very exciting. So not only does Jake have to put up with me again every single Tuesday, but there's gonna some other things going in the pipeline. Yay. Oh, yay, the unicorn poop. I love it.
There's
some fun shows coming in the pipeline, some other things that I'll be doing for FTN, which is very exciting. I can't wait. It's going to be good. I hope. If it sucks, it's not my fault.
If you want to check out everything over at FTN, code ALLIN gets you 20% off, by the way, which is a pretty significant discount, especially if you're getting the draft kit, which you should be checking out, as Jet Ratcliffe has everything over there. And everything else also at The Athletic, theathletic.com/betstv for his free month. Or you can click on my rankings, my projections, which you can customize and say, Jake, you're dumb. Your projections suck. I'm going to change the workload for everybody. And then guess what? Boom, automatically new rankings for you. So you can see like where you're smarter or where I'm smarter. Probably you. We'll find out. So anyway, have fun with that. If you click on them, probably $1 a month or $1 every 2 weeks or 50 cents a week. Like, I don't know. There's a million offers that going out there. It just depends on in your area where you might get like what your offer might be. The magazine's out too. Same thing for everybody that's asking questions, because I see a lot of people on Twitter asking. Magazine is the same thing that's on the site, and the site is the same stuff that's in the magazine. There's QR codes in the magazine, so you can go to the site and see updated stuff. So it's not like, oh my God, your rankings are from 2 months ago. It's just some people want those tangible things to like read on planes or give as a gift or bring to the draft or stuff like. So instead of printing out, like I should have brought it over here. It's like legit. It's like a freaking novel. Like I got mine in the mail. I was like, holy crap, we did this much. Like I legitimately like. So you should go check it out. We're continuing today. Our conversation from yesterday is, look, nobody wants to lose their draft in the first round, even second round. We're going to get a little bit deeper today. And Meanie had it easy, Lauren, yesterday, because Meanie was like, I mean, how do you argue against Jonathan Taylor being a bust? Like, or argue for him potentially being a bust? It's like basically, you know, outside of injury. And that's the thing. All of these guys, we could say injury. That's not what we're looking for, because that's the easy way out. So we're going to continue. We got through 5, because yesterday was an abbreviated show. On top of it, we had the Deshaun Watson news on top of that. So there's a lot happening. So we got through 5. Number 6 ADP, according to half PPR right now, is Justin Jefferson. Now, Lauren, there's a lot of people out there. I brought this up with Meanie yesterday. That seems absurd to me, where people are taking Jefferson and or Chase over Kupp because they want to be this is going to be the new number 1. You know how I feel about that. It's the dumbest thing ever. But that being said, it's the flip side argument for it. In what world can Jefferson potentially not be a first rounder this year? Is there a world for it? Like chances 1 to 10, and how does that happen?
Oh, there's no chance. I mean, barring injury, I honestly think that's the only time he's not a first rounder. Because if you're drafting any time past the 5th pick, you're not going to get Cooper Kupp. So what are your 2 other options here? It's going to be Justin Jefferson or it's going to be Jamar Chase. If I had my druthers, I might lean on Jamar Chase, but it's like splitting hairs with a hatchet. It's just kind of one of those things where I don't necessarily think that there's a wrong answer here. I just really like the offense that the Bengals are bringing, what Joe Burrow can bring to the table, what he has already brought to the table. And I think they're only going to get better this season, as opposed to, coming back from injury last season. He took them all the way to the Super Bowl. So yeah, there's not a world where Justin Jefferson is not taken in the first round.
Well, let me then try to argue like this. Let's say,
weird. You're trying to argue? Shocking.
No. The whole point of this show is like, can any of these guys be busts? So, Adam Thielen, stays healthy. Again, we're talking injury, so let's just say, but we're all making the assumption everybody we're talking about 17 games. So Adam Thielen's playing a full season too, and Adam Thielen is the touchdown source, similar to Tyler Lockett with Seattle when Russell Wilson was there. Irv Smith becomes a thing. KJ Osborne becomes a thing because it's more 3 wide. Dalvin Cook sees more touches shared with Alexander Madison. All of a sudden, this backfield is more like the Broncos. Of all those things, and again, I'm trying. This is difficult with Justin Jefferson, but we got him down to 120 targets, and he finishes at the 7th wide receiver. Technically, that's a first-round bust. Could that happen, or is this just if there's just no way all of those things happen?
There's a lot of ifs that I just heard coming out of there. It has to be if this, then that. For all you techie nerds out there.
If then. I like it. The if then formula. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with that last year when I got my Google Home and was creating things, especially when I would say oh, so-and-so is here, Google. And they're like, oh, you suck at fantasy football, Mike. Specifically you. I'm talking to you.
Raise the temperature to 90 degrees.
Oh my God. No, I had a lot of fun with IFTTs. It was good. Anyway. So yeah, there's a lot of ifs that are going there. And I mean, still, is that really a first round bust here? I don't know, because you're taking him towards the end. I mean, I guess, yeah. I don't know. It's a stretch. I think it would take a long stretch of the imagination for it. Now, with that being said, I still think you should take Cooper Kupp, and I still think you should take Jamar Chase. But if those two guys are off the board, which if you're picking later, likely they will be, you might have to go Justin Jefferson.
So let's get to number 7 ADP right now. Running back, Najee Harris. So I think you might be able to come up with a little bit more of, there are ifs, but more plausibility in the fact that Najee Harris does not finish as a first rounder in 2022.
Yeah, this one is a little bit, cracks the door open a hair for that possibility to happen.
Can you fit your head through? Can you
I mean, yeah, you can peek through it, and you reach a little, doggy paw in there. I didn't say cat paw because I know how much you hate cats, but I think because
they're evil minions of the Antichrist.
They are not. Oh my gosh, yes. Whatever. I think no, they just don't. I think they know that you don't like them, so they go out of their way to make sure that they just keep doing this.
Here's the strange thing. No, time out. So here's the strange thing.
No, they love you, and they'll come and find you. And
yes, animals and kids. This is going to shock the world. Everybody's probably just sit down. Everybody sit down before I say this. Animals and kids inherently love me. And so I actually have a friend who has 2 cats, and the one's super friendly, but the other one doesn't like anybody who comes over, hides the entire time, and then will come back out. Sitting there on the couch, that cat came out, sat down, laid against my leg.
See? And why do you hate them?
I told you, because they're evil minions of the Antichrist. Because they try to push things off the counter. They slap kids and dogs in the face. They punch each other just when they look at each other weird. They're just they flip out and start flying their claws all over the place. They're basically a little spindle of weapons.
My cat. I would put money on my cat in a fight. I'm not even kidding. But anyway, we're talking about Najee Harris here. So Najee Harris, it's the offensive line. I'm still not convinced. That is a huge problem. The other problem is here, we do not know what's going on with that quarterback situation. If it's going to be Mitchell Trubisky. Is it Mitchell again? Or is it Mitch again? Did he change it again?
It's still Mitchell. I mean, you put it this way. You can only change your name once. At this point, Deontay Hardy, you can't go back to Deontay Harris now. You're done. Ken Walker, you officially told us Ken. You were mad about when people were calling you Kenny and then Kenneth and all that. You said Ken, now you're Ken. I don't care. Two years from now, you can't go back to Kenneth. You're Ken now. Travis, and then the other thing you can't wait, the statute of limitations wears out too. Travis Kelce trying to tell us last year he was Kelce and not Kelsey. You can't wait 7 years and then say, oh, by the way, I wouldn't sit here today and be like, it's not Jake Ciely, it's actually Jake Ciely. I wouldn't say, be like, you're screwed. It's too late.
Yeah.
Plus, that sounds terrible.
My name isn't Lauren, it's actually Barbara. No, you can't do that. It doesn't, no.
Mine's actually Jacques.
Do you shop at Target? Jacques?
I do.
Thank you. But yeah, I'm not convinced about the offensive line. Boucher. Yes.
And we're talking Najee. We're talking Najee. How about that, of all things?
Oh my God, the world, a black hole just opened up in the universe. I think I'm confused about what's going on with the quarterback situation. I think they're also confused with what's going on in the quarterback situation. I think this is going to be the biggest problem I think that Najee Harris is going to have to deal with.
Hold on, timeout, Lauren.
Oh, God.
I thought Kenny Pickett was the best quarterback in the draft.
He has small hands, remember? Ergo, no bueno.
So, somebody just put Jacques Ciely in the
Ciely, yes. Oh my gosh, why did we not just say that out loud?
Anyway, continue with
well
Najee
done.
Harris.
Salute.
I
So
want
if
to,
this
like,
becomes a
poo-poo
short
those
passing
people.
game that Najee Harris is not involved in, and this is going to be more the for Air Fryermuth and Deontay Johnson, the heart of my life, then Najee Harris may have a little bit of trouble, but I think mostly it's going to be that offensive line. And it's just going to be, I think, the lack of an explosive offense that's going to be difficult for him. So even if he gets a ton of touches, but he doesn't have the kind of efficiency, and he doesn't have the first downs, and he doesn't get the yards, it doesn't get the touchdowns, that's going to be a big problem for him in fantasy.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, at the world of Najee Harris volume getting superseded by the poorness of this team is a possibility.
Yes, that's a big one.
So the only thing, again, and we're not saying he's going to be a bust. This is just how, because again, nobody wants to lose in the first round. That's what people say all the time. But you look at Dave Montgomery last year, and because of the touchdowns, and even Ezekiel Elliott, and because of the touchdowns, and I'm bringing it like James Conner. Those are better. James Conner, Ezekiel Elliott, better potential offenses. But again, if you're getting that kind of volume on top of the goal line volume, it's hard to see Najee Harris. But there is a world I could see, put it this way, of everybody we talked so far, Najee Harris, and of course we're further down the first round, Najee Harris is the easiest one, injury aside, to say doesn't hear. Going back to the Vikings, this next one, people are coming for me like they're like the pitchforks, like the Simpsons out here, like they're walking. The 100%. I actually think Dalvin Cook isn't a first rounder, and here's why. Let's go back to Justin Jefferson. Everybody's talking about Kevin O'Connell and opening up the passing game and all the time. Kirk Cousins already threw 33 touchdowns last year or whatever it was. This has already been an open-up passing game. And if they add Irv Smith, KJ Osborne, I don't think there's going to be all of a sudden all four of them are doing terrific. I just think Osborne and Smith both do more this year than we've seen before from these offenses.
I really like KJ Osborne this year for sure. I agree.
I really like Irv. I love some big Irv. So I think we're basically going from the Seahawks offense to more passing. And I think, energy drink to start the day because we're starting so early. I think if you look at this too, Dalvin Cook, what has he never done? People might not know this. He has never played a full season to date. For his entire career, He has never played a full season. He's not even played 15. He misses time every single year because of the workload they give him. And that's the good thing. Like, we see Dalvin Cook and we say, hey, Dalvin Cook is one of the top 5 running backs. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I think the Vikings and Kevin O'Connell are going to be smart. And I think that whether it's Madison or even Ty Chandler in the passing game, that you just see Dalvin Cook drop down to 260 over a full 17 games, and all of a sudden, just by that, he's like 15th best in fantasy, which again isn't bust, but it's a bust if you're going to draft him at 8, and he's going to be a mid to top end second rounder.
Well, we saw this with the Cowboys last season, right? With Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, and this isn't a bad move in terms of real football, especially when you have an extra week on the season. You need to keep these guys healthy. And Zeke was hurt too. So if we make that parallel in the comparison with Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison, we're almost looking at the exact same situation that they're both facing. All 4 of them are facing, if you will. And it wouldn't surprise me just for sustainability if they do kind of, ratchet him back just a hair and then bring up Alexander Madison. So I definitely can see that. I would go elsewhere than Dalvin Cook in the first round, and I don't hate that.
Okay, I'm with you. I know we're going with the. But this random sidebar. Am I the only weird one that like the sound of a ratchet when it's going back? I don't know. It's like a pleasurable sound to me. Like that sound that
It's a great sound. What are you talking about?
I don't know if I'm a
so
weird person.
My husband's in construction. He's a general contractor, so we have multiple tools in our house. And one of the things I really do enjoy messing with are like ratcheting tools. Like it's so satisfying. Like my ratchet screwdrivers. Like it's like it's satisfying.
Yeah. So somebody just said that Najee had a foot injury. There was a couple injuries yesterday where most people just walked off.
Oh, were they on the pup for 3 minutes and then off the pup again? Like, what's going
that
on?
That was last week when everything started. The only significant ones were James Washington, really, and then the safety that the Giants drafted in the 4th round.
Where's James Washington again?
Dallas.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they are officially down to Jalen Tolbert, Simi Fehoko, Noah Brown, and the one that they signed from the USFL, or not the USFL. Wait, yeah, what they brought back?
I think it's USFL.
Yeah, he was the MVP. But for everybody panicking, like, oh my God, the dude's Tavon Austin. Like, this is exciting.
That's true.
like hopefully, it's part of the reason he got MVP is because of his return game. And yeah, he was, but look at his size, look at his ability. Like it's not a bad thing. I'm not coming. Like, I hope he connects with the Cowboys. I hope he has a full-time job. But for fantasy purposes, unless you're in a return league and he catches on and that's his job and he's like the fourth wide receiver, you're not going to be interested. Anyway, The next one we already said is Jamar Chase. I don't know why Jamar Chase is ninth. I am team get my running backs, but at 9, if I'm at 7, I'm already thinking Jamar Chase because like you, I had this conversation with Meaty. I'm team Chase over Jefferson because very close, and that came as a rookie who was still worlds behind Jefferson in targets. Like, there's room for Chase to get more of the target share this year. Obviously, now let me set up the argument for you, Lauren. The argument might be, no, that is his target share, and somewhat big play reliant, and T. Higgins creeps on him a little bit more, and Tyler Boyd is more involved this year, who Tyler Boyd had a nice little stretch in the second half last year when Chase, and actually it was Higgins, Boyd, then Chase for a few games mixed in there. They weren't often, but we know what Mixon's going to do. So I paint all this world to say, I guess 1 to 10, the likelihood Chase is a second rounder, because I don't think we could bump him down to third. So 1 to 10.
No.
So just not even a 1?
No,
0?
not even. No, there's no chance, barring injury, that this man does not explode this season. There really isn't. And if we're looking at target share when it comes to the Bengals offense, most of the time Joe Burrow is on his butt. All right. So if he can stay upright with a better offensive line, you're going to have a better passing game. Sorry, I don't believe in their run game. I don't believe in Joe Mixon. This team is going to succeed through the air. And
that is come back to that in a minute.
It's through Jamar Chase. It's through. He did well last year, so I'm gonna have to.
No. We're gonna have to come.
We're gonna go on that one. I just don't.
Sneak preview. We're coming back to him the very next pick. So
yeah, I know, but I'm sorry. I honestly think that this team is through the air, and I don't care how many more targets that he throws. It's not going to suddenly be a T. Higgins led offense. Even if he gets a few more targets, so will Jamar Chase, and it's not going to be a Tyler Boyd creeping in on it either. Every single season that another wide receiver has been added, Tyler Boyd's targets go down. So they'll probably stay the same this year, if not maybe a few up, but that is not going to eat into Jamar Chase's target share. No. I won't hear it.
For last year, what I was talking about, Jamar Jefferson had 167 targets.
Wait,
had 277.
Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase?
Justin Jefferson. 167 targets, 277 points. Jamar Chase, 128, almost 40 fewer, 266, 11 points behind him. Now, again, this is where you can go download the projections and say, you're dumb, Jake. But I have, this is why. I have Justin Jefferson for 153. I actually have him pulling back from the 167, clearly. Just so you know, though, he is third. I have 0 wide receivers getting to $160. I have Kupp getting 158. Stefon Diggs, 157, Justin Jefferson, 153. So again, you think I'm crazy, go play with it. But for this argument, I just want to lay this out. I have him for 153, which is a 14 drop. I have Jamar Chase at 142. Still not Justin Jefferson, but that's a 15 target uptick with the touchdowns. They check in at 279 fantasy points and 252 for Justin. For mine, there's a gap. It's Kupp, Gap, Chase, Gap, Jefferson, and Jefferson's actually closer to Davante Adams than he is to Jamar Chase in my projections.
Yeah, that makes sense. I really do. I think that makes sense. I can't argue with that because I 100% agree. So I hope you didn't have me on to be contrarian with this pick because I agree.
Well, so let's get to the next one because I have a feeling you are going to be contrarian because the next one you just brought up is Joe Mixon. I will give you the positive side because it feels like you're going to argue for the negative side and why he's a first-round bust. I think you're going to come strong with this one. Joe Mixon last year finally stayed healthy. Again, we're not assuming injury for this argument. If stays healthy again, the point is like their workload in their backfield is they are bell cow-ish. They're very much like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and with the fact that you use your guy. That being said, they're on one of the best offenses. You just said the offensive line's better. Joe Mixon's going to get some usage in the passing game like he is. So all these reasons sitting there, they're people who will take Joe Mixon as the fourth or fifth running back off the board. It sounds like you're not even thinking about him at 6th, 7th running back off the board where he is right now.
Oh, yeah, I should. This is where my argument is you might as well just take everything that I say, put it into a bottle, and dump it down the toilet because it's literally is a personal burn for me. You know, like when you have a team where you like never draft this player ever again because they have personally wounded you. And
so you need to read my last year's trash article next week, is what you're telling me.
Yes, everyone should, and I absolutely will. But it's just one of those like I don't have the faith in it, right? So it's that innate fear, right? You know, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, fool me thrice, I should never play fantasy football again type of thing. So I would personally pass up on Joe Mixon. Do I think that it's a smart move? No. Now, would I actually pass up on Joe Mixon? Probably not. I'll just hate myself as I hit the draft button and then I'm disappointed later if he does.
I didn't think this was where you were going with it.
I really don't have any scientific or statistical evidence to show why I should dislike Joe Mixon. I have none. I just don't.
I actually, not to take us there, but I thought we were going down the Tyreek Hill, that kind of the Kareem, like off field. I thought.
I did. You know what? And I will touch on this. I did despise him personally for that. However, I did do people had not really come at me on Twitter, but they're kind of like, listen, you know, it's the Tyreek Hill, the Kareem Hunt, you know, but I'm like, listen, I get it. So what I did is I went up and I did a little bit more research into the aftermath of all of that and the things that Joe Mixon did. He met up with this girl. They talked. I think their families talked. I mean, you hear the remorse, or I read the remorse, if you will. And for me, it's like, we all make mistakes. Everybody needs a second chance. Then again, I still don't agree with it. It's one of those really weird gray areas where it's like, I don't know if I really want to. I'm in this industry, so I have to talk about these people, and I need to. I don't have to draft them, and that's part of one of the reasons why. But it's not the overarching reason why. Mine is the fantasy football production, which we finally got last year. Now, do I think that he can do it again this year? I don't know. I don't believe in it.
So somebody made me feel crazy about 5 or 6 years ago when they're telling me overarching wasn't a word. I'm like, no, yes, it is. It means like, and I explained to them, like, it means it's like the overall encompassing theme. And they're like, no, that's not a word. Like, or like, there's like an arch. No, like you're. And they were so confident in telling me that I was wrong that like I was second guessing. I was like, am I crazy? Or it's like,
now I feel crazy. I want to go look this up.
I know.
I want to go look this up now. But like, no, like,
no, I just.
Yeah, no, if you're a writer.
Check.
Yeah, if you're a writer and if you take a look at any books, there's usually an overarching theme or a plot.
Right.
That's encompasses all of the
I guess the theme here is if you ever see somebody super confident with no basis on Twitter saying something about a player like Joe Mixon, then just ignore them. You see what I just did there? That wasn't even intentional.
You can totally ignore me. That's why I said take what I say and flush it down the toilet. I have zero statistical evidence to show why I dislike him. It's a gut feeling that I pass up on him every year for another player. You know, say I'd rather have Najee Harris than Joe Mixon.
Oh, I would definitely rather have Najee Harris too.
All right. Well, again, it's
Najee
kind of
Harris.
But you know, and this is what's so crazy, I may be shooting myself in the foot, but if all the other top tier running backs are gone and Joe Mixon is staring me in the face, I may go with a better wide receiver, and then I might even try the zero RB strategy if I'm picking later. Ooh, how many?
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where I'm drafting from, but 2.
Would you take 3? You would take Jefferson?
I would take Jefferson.
So 3. Cup, Chase, Jefferson.
Well, yes. I'm assuming that Cup is already off the board.
Like Cup is just in like a whole nother world.
He is. I mean, yeah, he definitely is. If Cooper Kupp is available, your girl over here is gonna smash.
Would you take Cooper Kupp 101?
That's literally, that was the next words out of my mouth. Is I am currently in a hot debate over who I am taking 101 in a new league that I am in, and I have the 101 pick. But the thing is it's a half-point PPR. So do I go Jonathan Taylor or do I go Cooper Kupp? I don't know. I'm still debating this, and I'm keeping everyone on the edge of their seats.
Well, I will give you the same argument real quick in case you missed the show yesterday, which was a brief version of it. So Cooper Kupp last year, 365. This is the thing I kept bringing up. This is what I said to Meany yesterday. You chop off 20% of his production, 20 ridiculous percent of his production. He drops to Deebo Samuel, who is 299.5. He's actually, if you do the math in some leagues, I think there's like some like fumbles or something. I don't know, whatever it is. But when I did it, it was 299.4. He finished 0.1. 20% of his production, he finished 0.1 behind Deebo. But let's say 299. And this is why I'm bringing it up, is that because take 299, put it at running back, You know who finishes in front of him? Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, the end.
Yep.
I think everybody's taking Kupp over Eckler. Well, a lot of people will make that argument. So it comes down to Taylor versus Kupp.
Yep.
And if you want to take Taylor first or Kupp first, I mean, I wouldn't just because I hate, but at the first pick, you're more likely to be able to double tap running backs second, third round. Like if you here's the argument I will make for it. You take Kupp, you come back the second, third round, you're probably looking at, according to ADP right now, running back wise, you're looking at Barkley, Fournette, Cam Akers, Zeke, Montgomery, Connor, Gibson, like those names. If you take Taylor, the wide receivers you're looking at in that range are Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen. So
let me correct what I said earlier. I said it was a half-point PPR. I lied. It's a half PPR for running backs. Wide receivers are a full point.
Oh, that's that. Why are we doing that? Why is this league even doing that?
They're trying to make this argument that a running back can lose yards but still get a point for catching a pass. It's like
so can wide receivers.
So can wide receivers. It's weird. No.
You can take a screen, like you take a wide flat screen and get blown up and fumble the ball and still get positive. Like that's just.
It's kind of the point. No pun intended.
It's. Oh my gosh.
I know.
I hate full point PPR just for that point too. It's not. I mean, whether wide receiver, tight end, whatever position you are, you can get a 5-yard loss on a catch and you still get positive points. Not that you could get a 0-yard catch and still get positive points in a half-point PPR, but it already balances out. Plus, anyway, wide receivers are already back. We're talking about a wide receiver potentially being the number 1 pick. Why are we boosting it even more? Anyway, wide receiver next at 11. I think this one has a case, and Davante Adams is the 11th. Chances, reason why. Do you think Davante? Actually, I guess answer the question first of the 1 to 10 likelihood you think Adams is a bust of a first rounder, and then second, how that happens.
So I'm more, if 10 is like a definite bust, 1 nary a bust. I'm like, I'm at that 6 range. I'm like 6, kind of still leaning a little bit towards the 7. I'm not 100% fully convinced that'll happen, but I think the path to that opportunity or to that possibility is there. And it has nothing really to do with Derek Carr in this situation. It has to do with the other pieces that are in the offense. Derek Carr does play into it, although he has a ton of air yards too. Like, it's not like he doesn't ever throw the football. He's quite prolific with it.
4,800 yards last year.
Yes. My issue is with Hunter Renfrow, and it's with Darren Waller. Now, Davante Adams is going to be the target leader in this offense. To me, there is no question about that whatsoever. But there's also pass-catching pieces in the backfield as well with Kenyon Drake, Josh Jacobs. If he can be more involved, which you want to talk about a first-round bust, he is it for me. But Davante Adams, I think Davante Adams will do well. I just think people are going to be drafting him with that same expectation that we had when he was with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Even if it's just slightly reduced a little bit, I think people are going to be disappointed. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with just Derek Carr, and it doesn't have to do with Davante Adams specifically. It has to do with the way this offense is going to run, like I said, through Darren Waller and then also Hunter Renfrow. We talked about that before, Jake. Everyone is forgetting about him. Like, everyone forgets about Hunter Renfrow. And he is a very integral piece in this offense, especially in the red zone and in the 10s. He's a very important piece of this offense. So I wonder how much and defenses are going to be double teaming Davante Adams, no matter what. Why wouldn't you? And then they're going to be whoever's left over is going to take, guess who? Darren Waller. So that by itself is another problem that is going to be, it's not just the targets, it's going to be opportunity. And then can Derek Carr be like Aaron Rodgers and get those beautiful contested catches, get the contested throws that Davante Adams can make? Have we seen that happen in the past? I don't really know, because he hasn't had a Davante Adams type of player that's on his team that we've seen. So there's a lot of things going against Davante Adams. Well, yes, I know.
Don't forget.
But yeah, I'm worried about Davante Adams, not because I don't think he's not going to do well. I just think he's not going to live up to the expectations. I think that many people have, not everyone, but I think many people have a certain expectation because of name recognition.
Yeah, I actually have Davante Adams for 144 targets, and that's with Renfrow getting 113 and Waller getting 115. By the way,
if Waller can stay on the field.
Well, and so that's 48 for Jacobs, 36 for Drake, 34 for Bolden, and some other. Like, the thing is outside of those big three, nobody else in the team for mine even has 8% of the target share. So it's a very top-heavy team. if that shifts just by itself, like maybe Carr spreads it around a little bit more the next year. Like, granted, I'm not worried about Cole or Mac Hollins or Demarcus Robinson.
Oh, Mac Hollins has been the talk of the preseason.
Oh, of course, because everybody is like this. And then Foster Moreau's 2 games a year that pisses everybody off when
Lord
he scores a touchdown.
mercy.
That's guaranteed. By the way, just
without a doubt.
I would throw like a $1 lineup on DraftKings every single week that has Foster Moreau, like always as the tight end, because it's going to happen twice. And like those 2 weeks, like it's going to happen at some point. But this is why I'm off Waller as the 3rd tight end off the board.
Same.
Because I made the argument, go back to the James Washington yesterday. It's like, how many more reasons do people need to draft Dalton Schultz, who just finished in front of Waller as the number 3 tight end with more fantasy points, and you're adding Davante Adams, and that's the argument to push him back over Schultz when Schultz is clearly the number 2? Like, I don't get it. Like, I just don't. And whatever. We're stupid.
I get it 100%. 100% agree with you.
By the way, say it again, because I don't think it hit home. And there's a lot of people that are just coming around. It is now officially August. I'm going to say this again as a reminder. I tweeted this out. I said it once on the podcast already. Running with the ones means Jack Diddley. Hold on. Because you have to be evaluated with the ones. Your concern is if you don't even get ones snaps. Like if you're already running with the 2s and 3s, that's a problem. Running with the ones, yes, they're getting opportunities, and yes, you can get excited for it, but it doesn't mean they're taking the job. It doesn't mean they're taking. You have to be evaluated, especially when it comes to rookies and free agents that are coming in. So chill out on that. Everybody gets chances with the ones. That's how you evaluate. So relax. We have time. Now, 4, 5, 6, 7 beat reporters start saying the same thing. Then you start paying attention. That's
always pay attention to the beat reporters, everybody. They are the eyes.
When there's multiples.
Yes.
I'll tune 1 or 2 and out. But like,
correct,
I'll make a mental note. I'll put like in my brain. There's like a pin cushion wall, and like
yes,
like,
it's like then your ear will perk up next time you hear it, and then the 3rd time you hear it, then when it starts to get to the 4th and 5th, it's like okay, top of mind awareness. I get it now, 100%. But these people and these reporters, they are there. They have their thumb on the pulse of what's going on with these teams, and especially if they've been there for many years, pay attention to them because they know the coaching staff. They can evaluate as well. So. Always remember to pay attention to beat reporters. Not only that, but they work their butts off.
Selfish shout out over the Athletic I mentioned yesterday. Lombardi covers the Giants. One of the best at picking through these things. Like his team, in my opinion, like was already kind of on team him before the Athletic. By the way, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show. The Band Kickers t-shirt. Reminder: drop a comment, thumbs up, like, subscribe. Random giveaway. I'm gonna give them away. I got. Stack behind Dennis Rodman here. He boxes things out. He's boxing out the shirts right now. They're behind Dennis Rodman. That's giving away free t-shirts, free Band Kickers t-shirts. And all you have to do is drop a comment in there so he can get some comments, like whatever it is. Ask a question. Yeah, you do. Lauren's getting one. There you go. She just has to say I'm getting one of those. That doesn't work for all the rest of you. You have to drop a comment.
He's required by contractual law to send me a shirt.
Last first round pick by ADP is Stefon Diggs. Is Stefon Diggs one of the safest first rounders, even though he's the last by ADP?
Isn't that weird? I agree. Like it is so weird to think
like
that
there's no chance he busts as a first rounder, right?
I don't think so. How so? I mean, because they drafted James Cook and I'm sorry, Devin Singletary had the best season of his career and finished RB20. Suddenly this is going to hurt Stefon Diggs? Please. No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11. He finished 12th last year. Oh, wait, let me double check tight end. Hold on. Did I lie? Okay, 13th. Mark Andrews finished in front of him. He finished 13th last year. So there you go. And that was quote unquote a down year. Because everybody was like, it could have been better.
Oh, so, it's Gabriel Davis's year, obvi.
Well, I mean, it can be, but we're also going to... Oh, Isaiah McKenzie, by the way. Totally tearing up camp so far.
Can't forget about him. Dawson Knox is taking all the
Dawson Knox is going to catch 73 touchdowns. I don't want you to know that.
Wouldn't that be the day? Holy moly.
So,
he is the safest
Diggs,
first round.
There's no way he busts?
I don't think so. I don't see a path where that is going to happen. And where is it going? Where are these targets suddenly going to go to aside from Stefon Diggs? Isaiah McKenzie, Dawson Knox, Gabriel Davis.
The backfield? A little bit more James Cook, which is interesting. So we talked about this on the Athletic podcast, and I pulled it up. Did you know last year Josh Allen the fourth fewest percentage of throws to running backs last year. If you take Josh Allen's career, of the 92 qualified quarterbacks who threw at least 100 attempts in his career so far,
oh boy,
fourth lowest.
Yeah.
He doesn't throw to running backs.
He doesn't throw to his running back.
Everybody's talking about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson throws a higher percentage of his passes to running backs than Josh Allen does.
Yeah, no. They're again. You're proving my point, or maybe I'm proving your point. We're proving each other's point.
Yes.
I don't see any path up for regression for Stefon Diggs. Like, I don't. Okay, yes, Gabriel Davis is going to go up, but they also lost Cole Beasley. There's some targets there that can be spread around. No, I don't get it.
What? No.
No.
What? No.
What? No. Yeah, he is. But I am going to echo your sentiment. He is the safest first round draft pick I think that you can take from the wide receivers. And he's kind of being forgotten here with the flashy, Jamar Chases and Justin Jefferson and obviously Cooper Kupp. And I think people want to throw Deebo Samuel in there now too, that he has that huge contract.
So I will say this is for everybody out there that plays auctions, which by the way should be everybody at this point. Play auctions. They're better.
It's fine.
You can be on every single player you want. You don't have to sit there and worry about your draft pick and all that. So yeah, please play auctions. If you do play auctions, the strategy I love is first of all, get active early because a lot of times people are hesitant and those first couple players out will come at a discount. Like a lot of times, I'll give you an example. Big three wide receivers, Kupp, Chase, Jefferson. If Kupp is the first one thrown out, a lot of times you'll see him go for like 52, and then all of a sudden people get warmed up and Jefferson and Chase go for 56 and 57. And you're just sitting there like, what the hell just happened?
Yep.
Because people are a little... So this is what I'll say. The interesting, like to even take that another step further, throw out Stefon Diggs first and watch him go for like 32. And then all of a sudden, Deebo goes out there, and Deebo goes for 40, and Davante Adams goes for 41, and even CeeDee Lamb goes for 44. Like, I'm telling you, like that sneaky fringe, like the undervalue, like those ones, like throw it out early while everybody's playing that little, like, let's feel the room type of thing. Boom, value. You just saved $10. Telling you.
I like it.
Do it. Do it now. All right, before
very bossy.
I know. Before we get to the round two, because there's a few more players I want to talk. Two questions in here. So Jay Dust asked about Ramondre Stevenson. He's not asking about running the ones. He said asking running 11 personnel. The Stevenson thing, I've already made my case of Damian Harris over Stevenson. I'd like to hear your situation in this backfield. But the Stevenson, this one's interesting because James White is the unknown. Like, we don't know if James White's even making the opening day roster. There's talk that Pierre Strong could replace him in that role, but Pierre Strong's a rookie. And if Stevenson is going to see more passing game work, and all of a sudden this backfield turns into the Broncos because of the Patriots, and it's a very shared load, you could get Harris and Stevenson as values. So I will be watching this to see if Stevenson potentially becomes the James White replacement with a little bit more carries. What are you looking at back here?
You're literally saying exactly how I feel. I do see the potential here to be a split backfield running back by committee. It kind of was last year too, but Damian Harris still outworked Ramondre Stevenson, not because he's better than Stevenson or anything. That's just kind of how the cards fell. And I don't think that they're going to change that. So Mac Jones is still young. He's still growing in his career. If they want to be successful, they're going to need to keep it on the ground until he can really get going and his accuracy gets better. So I don't see why that would change. The problem is Damian Harris is touchdown dependent when it comes to his fantasy production. He did finish just outside of the RB1 tier at RB13 and half PPR scoring. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that his utilization, I don't want to say primarily, but a lot of his utilization was within the red zone, specifically within the 10s and the 5s. So I think he had the second highest 10 zone attempts behind only Jonathan Taylor. Now that isn't great when you want to have some consistency in your running backs. But again, his value was really good. It's not like he's going, I think his ADP right now is in the 4th or 5th round.
You're talking about Damian Harris?
Damian Harris. It might be lower than that. I can't remember. I looked at it a few weeks ago. But if you miss out on Damian Harris,
it's the 4-5 turn.
4-5 turn. Okay. So if you miss out on Damian Harris, I don't mind taking Ramondre Stevenson either, because he may get a different style of workload that he did last year, because Bill Belichick doesn't like really young players. So that's why I don't really believe in the rookie. I think that James White is going to be more fantasy annoying than fantasy relevance.
That's certainly fair. Just in front of Damian Harris, Joe Burrow, quarterback. J.K. Dobbins, I think that's going to continue to drop given the news there. Mike Williams, Lamar Jackson, DJ Moore, Darren Waller, DK Metcalf, Travis Etienne, as our friend Pat Mayo would say. Yeah. All the way up at 46. Etienne's going almost 10 picks earlier than Damian Harris. And I love some Etienne, but if you're going to tell me ADP comes into play. speaking of which, the one more question I want to answer. So Bubs is referencing, I did a mock draft with some friends here locally that, trying to grow their podcast. And Akers was in the 3rd round. Ooh. And I'd already gone running back. And I said, screw it. I'll go 3 running backs to start. So his question is, what tier am I willing to do that with? What tier am I willing to take a 3rd running back and already lock up my flex spot with no wide receivers on my team? And basically that is, it depends on how you actually have tiers coming out. So Cam Akers for me is my 11th running back. If I did tiers, I have Taylor, McCaffrey, Henry. I'd probably put Harris and Eckler in their own. And then
Najee Harris, not Damian Harris.
Correct. The Kamara, Barkley, Cook, Swift, Akers. So basically that'd be that'd be the 3rd tier. So the 3rd tier, basically my RB1s. If an RB1 is still sitting there in round 3, I'm taking him because he's an RB1. I'd even consider fringe RB2s depending on what the wide receivers look like because that's going to depend on your draft. But at least if you're an RB1 and you're still sitting there in round 3, I'll tie myself up. I don't care.
I don't see any problem with that. And the reason why is because the amount of talent and value drop off for running backs is severe when you get down past the 3rd and 4th rounds, unless you find some gems and some diamonds that are floating around there. Like I'm a huge fan of Chase Edmonds, which you can get pretty late. One of those I really like. However, wide receiver value is just phenomenal as you get later on in your draft. So I would lock up running backs first. If you're in that position, don't be afraid to do that, I think, in my opinion, because running the good talent and fantasy production at the running back position is not going to be there later on in the draft. It will be there for wide receivers. So I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Okay, fair enough. And just real quick, Brandon Katz, you are wrong, sir. So 2 things here, talking about Schultz versus Waller. Schultz, more points per game last year with Waller before Davante Adams arrived. And, oh, by the way, they're going to pass more, being the Raiders. Guess who passed more last year? The Cowboys by almost 20 attempts. All of a sudden it's going to switch dramatically. So, no, incorrect. Schultz over Waller. But thank you for showing.
Waller lover.
I appreciate the Allen Robinson love. We've been doing that on the show all the time. So I appreciate that part of your argument. Yeah, we are 100% team Allen Robinson here. Nick Chubb is 13th off the board. What's the chances he finishes outside the top 20?
None.
Because I was going to say, Nick Chubb is essentially 11 through 14. Just put him in there every single year.
Put him in there. It just literally just plop him in there. It especially this year with Jacoby Brissett starting the first 6 games. What is going on with that whole hot mess situation? Either way, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who's at quarterback, everyone, right now, especially because the Browns keep the ball on the ground. That is what they do. They like running. And guess who runs the football? Nick Chubb. So please, the volume is going to be there. There's no question about what his workload is going to be. He's basically like the Stefon Diggs. Just, safe. Boom. Get him.
Is Nick Chubb a better pick than Davante Adams because of that?
Ooh. That's a tough one. I think I would have to look at roster construction, just like you were saying before about your running back situation, depending on the wide receivers that are left. That is a really, really tough question. I think, you know what? I might do that because I might just save my wide receivers for a little bit later and lock up my good, consistent running backs. I might do that. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. Did I just say that out loud?
I mean, I think so.
I think so too. What just happened? I blacked out.
2 more. Here we go. Travis Kelce at 14.
Kels, you mean?
And Kels, yes.
Kelsey.
Yes. That lasted a whole week or two. Kelsey. Travis Kelce at 14 continues to be tight end 1. The fact he finished behind Mark Andrews last year.
Yes, he did.
For everybody at that. So this is, for me, if he's top 15, like, I'm never doing this. This comes down to this. I don't draft the tight end here because they have to have the Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. They have to do that. If you don't, because of what you sacrifice at running back and wide receiver to come back around, that's the thing. Like, your margin for it, like, it can work, and it can work great because you have such a leg up on everybody else in your tight end production that you can just compete everywhere else and you're fine. The problem is there's a slimmer margin for error because if they don't, you've now been double hit. So that's why I don't do it. Now, I'm going to kind of phrase this one a little bit differently. What do you think of the chances that he's a bust in the fact that Travis Kelce is not just not top 15, that he finishes 2nd or 3rd again this year, that he isn't the number 1 tight end?
Oh, I find that to be a pretty solid possibility. Do I 100% believe in it? No, but I'm at a 7.5. out of one scale of 1 to 10 that happening. And the reason why is the loss of Tyreek Hill. Who else is going to be on that offense that they're going to be covering? Is it their exceptional run game? Well, no. Who else is on there? Juju Smith-Schuster? Is that who we're talking about? Who else? Who else we go? Mecole Hardman? They're going to be taking Travis Kelce away from this offense, and that is going to hurt production for Travis Kelce. So, yeah, I do think there is an opportunity for him to be a bust if someone takes him in the first round, which sucks because Travis Kelce is amazing. But
you lost
this year, more than any other, I think is going to be an uphill battle for him.
Okay. So last one, because we're going to stop at 15, and that's a good spot to end on. So 15, DeAndre Swift. A lot of excitement for you. So a lot of excitement for DeAndre Swift. You know, kind of in that Austin Eckler mold where 14 to 18 touches, he can be top 10 because of who he is. There's a lot of concerns with, well, what about the offense? Well, what about the fact of the offensive line? And it's still, we're talking about Matt Patricia versus Sean McVay being able to do this, or even the Chargers doing it with Austin Eckler. So it comes down to Jared Goff. And there's a lot of questions here. Jamal Williams, does he keep getting, because Jamal Williams came back from injury and saw some work again. But they did use DeAndre Swift quite a bit, especially in the passing game, which, by the way, go look last year of passing game opportunities. DeAndre Swift, top 5 running backs. I actually think, depending on, I think it was like top 3 if you're talking target percentage versus actual targets. But anyway, point being, DeAndre Swift's exciting, but chances he doesn't even finish top 30 for DeAndre Swift.
Ooh,
and we're not taking injury into it.
I think that's steep. I think he'll finish top 30.
Okay.
Yes.
Top 20?
That's a little bit more on the line. His chances of not finishing as an RB20 or better, I am going to put it at like a 4. Do I think it's possible? Yes. Do I see the path for it? I think that's a little murky. Now you want to talk about top 15, top 12? Yeah, I don't think he will.
Don't think he'll finish top 12 is what you're saying?
I think it would be difficult and not impossible, but
hold on.
I would not bank on him doing that.
Look,
Don't bank on it.
Wait, it's easily accessible now. Like before we get out of here real quick.
Oh boy.
And we're trying to figure out running backs versus other running backs. We need to make a list. And we haven't done that with Lauren in quite a while. Quickly.
A long
before
time.
We get out of here. I know, it's been a long. I did it with Chris recently. So I have DeAndre Swift at 10. Mm-hmm. So in front of him, I'll do quick fire. Cook, Barkley, Kamara, Mixon, Eckler, Harris, all those are in front of Swift for you, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm assuming. Okay. Swift or Cam Akers?
Cam Akers.
Swift or Nick Chubb?
Nick Chubb.
Safety versus upside there.
Yep.
Swift versus Javonte Williams?
Oh, Swift.
Swift versus Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Swift versus Leonard Fournette?
Swift.
Connor?
Swift. Ouch.
Gibson?
Ooh, Swift.
Zeke?
Zeke.
Zeke over Swift.
That would hurt. Yeah,
Wow.
I think he's good. He's healthy this season. I think he wants to have a pretty solid bounce back year.
That's,
after.
as you would say, is spicy.
It's spicy. Yeah, it's a spicy take. It is a spicy take. I understand. Yeah.
So we will be back tomorrow. We're going to do a mock draft tomorrow so we can put all this into action with Chris Meany and Lauren together. So at 11 o'clock, not a random earlier time. Don't worry. I think, who was it? Somebody was saying that they tuned in. Let's see. Jiggles. Welcome, Jiggles. Jiggles, we didn't start at 6:45. We actually started at 7 your time on the West Coast. It was 10 o'clock. But you can watch on repeat in the afternoon or whenever you feel like it and tune in. Comments. I see it about the shirt. You said it. But comments after the show in the comments on YouTube. That's how you help our algorithm. That's how you help us grow. And make sure you're paying attention to Lauren and Meany at FTN. Code all in, get you 20% off. The Athletic. Go click on the rankings or the projections, and you'll get a discount. Magazine if you want it. We're there for you. We'll see you next time. We'll see you tomorrow.